So for starters, the Q serial is a serial connected module, while the Q3 mode is a 3-mode connected module. Both families offer 11 great products to pick from, 27 LEDs in every module, and 5 available colors. Both product families come with a flat surface mount and a thick surface mount, a flat dual stack surface mount and a thick dual stack surface mount, the 100 and 200 light sticks, your mirror mounts available in 5 vehicle types, your under mirror puck also available in 5 vehicle types, the 1X and 2X dash lights, the dual wide surface mount available in a thin housing. I'm going to go ahead in the next round of videos show you how the pattern selection and the color selection along with zoning and phasing is programmed using the light heads, the surface mounts, as our example. Again, regardless of what Q-Series product you're programming, the process is still the same. I'm going to use 2 flat Q-Series modules as my example here. Every Q-Series comes with 3 modes: red, yellow, and white. To change flash patterns, first apply power to the mode wire you wish to program. And then use your pattern selector switch, which is the blue wire, tap that to ground. Hold for half a second. Every time you tap the blue wire to ground, it'll cycle to the next flash pattern. Repeat that same process on your next mode. So that's how you activate flash patterns on all Q-Series products. In the other videos, we'll talk about phasing and alternating patterns. Now there are 2 methods of flashing a Q-Series light head. There's flashing together and alternating. I'll show you how you program both options. I'll start off by connecting power to my red wire, which is one of the mode wires. I'll notice that they're currently on a triple slow pattern, flashing in phase. If I wish to have them alternate from one another, I need to set one module to out of phase. To do that, I'll disconnect my blue sync wire and pattern selector wire from one another. I can leave both modules on at the same time, that's not a problem. I'll connect one of the blue wires from one of the modules and connect it to ground for 3 seconds. I'll wait for it to go to steady red. When it does, it's now on a different phase cycle. However, if you look closely, it defaulted to pattern number 1. Every time you change the phase cycle on a module, it will always default to the previous pattern. So I'll go ahead and repeat that process on the other module. It defaulted to pattern number 1. The reason we do that is because it allows you to reset all the patterns at the same time instead of having to cycle all the way to the end. Now, when I reset the phase cycle of both modules, I put it on pattern 1, but both on the same phase. Let me repeat the process one more time on another module and put it on a different phase cycle. That's now illuminated blue to show me that it's on a different phase cycle from the other module. Now, they're synchronized and alternating in 2 different phases. Every time I tap the pattern selector switch, the module will cycle to the next pattern, showing me them out of phase from one another. Now, another thing to keep in mind is that once I set phase cycling on a specific mode, it does not carry over to the next mode. Currently in this mode, it's alternating from one another. In my next mode, you'll see that they're flashing in phase from one another. So I'd want to repeat that process if I wish to have them alternating out of phase from one another. That concludes how you program pattern phasing on your Q-Series products. I'll begin by hooking up my mode wire. When I do that, the light will flash in a blue pattern, which is my factory default. I'll grab my blue wire and tap that to ground. I'm searching for the steady on 10% intensity pattern. It's towards the end. I'll keep tapping, and there it is. The majority of all cruise mode application is going to be steady on 10%. I could now cycle the color to a different color if I desire that. Green to power changes the color. I have 5 available colors to pick from. And there you have it. It's as simple as that to program cruise mode on any of your 3 available modes. Now when looking at my 3 mode wires, I want to make sure that I program tail, which is my lowest priority in mode 1, brake, which is my secondary priority in mode 2, and turn signal, which is my 3rd priority in mode 3. I'll start by connecting power to ground and grabbing my ground pattern selector wire, which is my blue wire, and tapping that to ground until I get to my 10% intensity, steady on. There it is. I'll now cycle through the different colors to set that to a red color. Now I have tail mode programmed on mode 1. I'll proceed to programming mode 2. I'll begin by connecting power to that mode 2 wire, which is yellow. I'll grab my blue pattern selector wire and tap that to ground until I get to my brake pop pattern. There it is. I'll use my green wire to change the color to red. There I have it. I now have brake pop connected on my mode 2 wire. I'll now go to my mode 3 wire and I'll program this to turn signal. I'll start by selecting the steady on pattern. I don't want brake pop. I don't want tail 10%. I want full on intensity at 100% steady on. I'll now use my color selector wire and set that to amber for my turn signal functionality. I'll now show you all 3 of those modes in action. I have tail on mode 1, brake pop on mode 2, and turn signal on mode 3. And just as a reminder, you want to program tail in your lowest priority, mode 1, and turn and brake in your higher priorities, mode 2 and 3. That way, brake and turn override your tail functions. This concludes how you program stop, turn, and tail on any of your Q series light heads. To start, I'm going to apply power to my mode wire. The light will flash in a blue steady on pattern, which is a factory default. I'll take my blue wire, which is my pattern changer wire, and tap it to ground until I get to the steady on pattern. Now don't be confused by 2 steady on patterns. The first one is a brake pop pattern, which we would not want to use for a flood activation. I'll tap again. Now I'm on a tail light, which is a dim cruise mode pattern. I'll tap again, and now I'm on full intensity steady on. Notice when I disconnect power, the light turns right on and doesn't brake pop. I'll then connect my green wire to power 12 volts to cycle through the colors. Red, amber, and now white. And there you have it. I now have white steady on, full intensity, programmed on my mode wire. To show you how you program the 5 color options, I set this mode to the steady on pattern. All I simply do now is take my green wire and tap it to power. Every time I tap the green wire to power, it cycles to the next color. It's really straightforward when programming a steady on pattern. Now, programming color selection on a flashing state is a little bit different. And the reason is that I have 5 colors that all flash in different sequences depending on what color selection options are available. In this case, I have a dual color, red and blue, on single slow. If I want to change my color sequence here, I simply tap it again and it'll add a secondary color, blue and amber. If I tap it again, it'll add another combination of dual color, blue and white, and so on. On every single tap, it'll add a new sequence of 2 different colors, all the way until I get to my tricolor flash pattern state. I'm still on dual color, so I'll keep tapping. I'm on red and white. Tap again. I'm on green and red. All the way until I get to my tricolor options now, which is flashing in the first color option, which is red, blue, and green. Tap again. White, blue, and amber. And it'll cycle through every tricolor option that I have available. Once I'm through my tricolors, it'll go to my quad color options. After I'm done with my quad color options, it'll go all the way to my quint color options. I could always reset to the very first color option by holding my pattern selector switch to power for a few seconds. When I release, it goes back to color 1 default in amber. And from there, I can tap my color selection and cycle to my next color state. All the way until I get back to my dual color flash patterns. And that's how you program the different color options on your Q series products. In our next video, we'll talk about how you lock those colors. Currently, this light is flashing red and blue. I'm going to program it to all amber and then show you how we lock those colors. I've now set the surface mount to an amber flash pattern. To lock the colors, I'll disconnect power, connect my white, green, yellow, and red wires all together, and hold it to power for about 5 to 8 seconds. I'll wait for the light to turn steady on. In steady on amber, the light is now locked. After I've disconnected all the wires, I'll then now apply power to that mode, and I'll see it flashing all amber. No matter how many times I tap my color selector switch, it will not change the color selection from amber. It also locks the pattern selection as well. Notice no matter how many times I tap my pattern selection, it will not change the pattern. If I wish to unlock the surface mount, I simply connect all the wires together again and twist them in one bundle. I then apply power to all those wires, the red, yellow, green, and white. I'll wait a few seconds. When the light goes steady on white, I'm now in an unlocked state, and I can cycle through different colors. I'll disconnect those 4 wires together, apply power, and now every time I tap my color selection switch, I'm able to change the color. That shows you how you both lock and unlock the color selection on your Q series products.